Let's start the next point. In last lecture, we have seen what is a network diagram, what is a project network, and what is a project network diagram. In short, what is a project network diagram? Let us see. The project network diagram represents the workflow of the project. Okay, it is used by the project managers for the purpose of tracking the progress of different activities during the course of the project, so that they will be able to understand the how much the progress of the project is done and whatever the process that is being done to which level. The network diagram, it also shows how the activities are related to the other and the sequence of activities that to be conducted, because network diagram that shows the flow of the activity that we have to do one after the other, one after the other. That's why it shows the sequence of the activity that we have to perform one after the other. After that, we have seen different types of the network diagrams also. The two types of network diagram we have seen: arrow diagram method, and next we have seen the procedures diagram method, PDM and ADM. These two methods of making the network diagrams we have seen. Next to that, we have seen advantages and some of the benefits. Advantages, in short, we can call it as the benefits of the this particular network diagram. Also, we have seen disadvantages of that network diagram. Now let us see how to develop a network diagram. Means, while developing network diagram, whatever the process we have to do, what is the flow of the things that we have to do for the purpose of developing a network diagram. Okay, developing a network diagram is not an very easy task. Okay, in the sense that it requires a whole lot of homework to do before creating this network diagram. The project managers or others who are involved with the every aspect of the project, and they know the project requirements at every detail level, they are ideal candidates for creating the network diagrams. Okay, only they can create, because they know the project in detail. They know each and everything about the project in detail. So the network diagram that requires the involvement of the people, they are responsible for the different activities of the project. A well done network diagram that smoothens out the project path and ensures early identification of issues and bottlenecks. The requirement we will see now for the purpose of creating the network diagram. As we have seen now, the creation of network diagram requires a whole lot of pre-planning. Means everything the person should know about the project. Some of the information we must be we should have for the purpose of creating a diagram. That is, the start and end points of the project must be identified and defined at the phase of planning. All the project activities that must be identified also. Accurate estimation of the completion time of each activity that must be carried out again, and dependencies that must be identified. All these things we have to consider before creating the network diagram. The best practice to be followed while creating the project network diagram. What are the best practice that to be followed, or what is the process that to be followed while creating the network diagram when created accurately, that can bring a whole lot of benefits. Okay, let us see at the best practices or benefits that can be followed while making the network diagram. Using standard network diagramming symbol that are universally known and accepted, so that anyone watching your network diagram, anyone is going through your documents of the network diagram, will be able to understand, because whatever the standards you are using, standard diagrams and symbols, that is universally accepted, universally know, everyone is knowing about what is the purpose of each and every diagram. Then you do not need to explain everything regarding the network diagram. They will understand themselves. Okay, if using different symbols, you have to make sure they are correctly defined at each and every time. Whenever you are using the symbols in the network diagram, you have to be sure about explaining it correctly or defining it correctly. Okay, always you have to use a straight arrows. Whatever the arrows you are using, don't draw the tilted arrows and different arrows, zigzag arrows. You have to use only straight arrows. Avoid crisscrossing arrows. Just now I have told you, zigzag arrows, the arrows you have to avoid. You have to use the minimum number of dummies also. The arrows that should be used from left to right only, right to left, or the arrows should not be used. Okay, it shows the sorry sorry left to right arrow that we are using that show exactly the flow of that particular diagram, network diagram. Okay, next you have to use just one starting point of start event and one cumulative point or end event. Okay, where you have to use 2 points, only one starting point, only one cumulative or end point. You can use the tools for more accuracy and lucidity also. Make sure that your diagram contains relevant and up to date information. Okay, everything regarding the project you have planned in a planning, and you have done written, you documented everything after each and every phase that should be up to date in the diagram. The network diagram that must contain the right amount of details. Okay, there should not be any mistake in that details. You should be ensuring that the data should data you are using here to create the network diagram, that is accurate and it is well managed also. All the things you have to consider before creating the network diagram, or while creating the network diagram, means all these best practices you should follow while creating the network diagram for the purpose of creating an efficient network diagram. Let us see what are the different tools that can be used for the purpose of creating the network diagram. There are a number of tools for network diagramming, they are available, but some of them, let us see what are the some of them. You can have Microsoft Visio, okay, Google Draw, sorry, Microsoft Vision, Google Draw, Lucid Chart, Concept Dot Diagram, Intermapper, eDrawMax, and more. These are number of diagrams or number of tools you can use for the purpose of creating the network diagram. In short, we can say that a picture that speaks thousands of words. Okay, you do not need to explain each and everything, as a picture that shows everything regarding the diagram, regarding your project. And what could be the more help to a project management team than a picture that helps to understand the whole project. So, by providing a diagrammatic representation of events, activities, structures, and processes, the network diagram that helps all those associated in the project for the purpose of understanding the project at a micro level. The project manager, they are specially have found network diagrams to be valuable tools in the managing project and ensuring their successes for the purpose of project management. Okay, this is all about the network diagram. We can say that a network diagram can be of logical type, means logical network diagram type, or physical network diagram type, where a logical network diagram that describes the way information flows through a network. Okay, therefore the logical network diagrams typically shows the subnets, that is includes VLANs, IDs, masks, and different addresses, network devices like routers and firewalls, and other routing protocols also. In the open system interconnection, that is OSI model, logical network diagram, they correlate with the information that is contained in layer 3, also known as the network layer. L3 is an abstraction layer that deals with the packet forwarding through the intermediate routers. Level 2 shows the data links between the adjacent nodes, while level 1 shows the purely physical layout. This was one of the example of logical network diagram. And what is the physical network diagram? A physical network diagram that shows the actual physical arrangement of the components that make up the network, including cables and hardwares. Typically, the diagram gives a bird's eye view of the network in its physical space, like a floor plan. This is called as a physical network diagram. How we are using this network diagram? Network diagram are used for planning the structure of the home of a professional network. It can be used for coordinating updates to an existing network, reporting the troubleshooting network problems also. It can be used to complete with the PCI or other requirements also, as documentation for external communication, onboarding, etc. To keep a track on components, we are using the network diagram. Sending relevant information to a vendor for a RFP, that is request for proposal, without disclosing the confidential information, we can send the network diagram. Selling a network proposal to the financial stakeholders also, and proposing a high level syslog infrastructure changes. Here we are using the network diagram. there are different topologies for the network diagram. We can see what are the different topologies for the network diagram. Network topologies, we can say it refers to the arrangement of elements within a network. Okay, like network diagrams, network topologies that can describe either the physical or logical aspects of the network. Okay, or the logical topology, that is also known as the signal topology also. Different topologies, they are best for certain situations. Okay, since they can affect the performance stability and other outcomes also. We can see the network topology can be of burst topology type, where it is also known as backbone also, or linear or ethernet topology. There are number of ways we can define it, or we can nomenclature can be given to the burst topology. In this type of network or topology, it is distinguished for having all of the nodes connected by a central medium, that is called as the bus, which has exactly two endpoints. Okay, means it is connected to a central medium. All the things are connected to central medium, that is bus, and it has exactly two endpoints. Okay, bus topology, they are easy to configure and require the less cable length than some other topologies. However, if the central bus that breaks down, so does the whole network, and it can be difficult to isolate the different problems. Next type of topology, that can be ring topology. It can be in a circular form. The nodes, they are connected in a circular pattern, and packages of information, they are sent through the ring until they can until they can reach their destination. The ring network that can outperform those based on the burst topology, and they can be easily reconfigured also to add or remove the different devices. However, they are still relatively vulnerable, since the whole network that fails if a single node fails. Okay, also the bandwidth must be shared across all of the devices and the connections. Next type of topology we can call star topology. One of the most common topology, the star topology, is that consists of central hub or a switch through which all of the data passes along with all of the peripheral nodes connected to the central node. Okay, star topology that tends to be reliable because individual machines that may crash without affecting the rest of the network. But if the central hub or switch that fails, none of the connected nodes will be able to access it. Cable cost also tend to be higher for star networks. This is a star network. Next network we can topology, that is mesh topology. There are two types of topology. In the first, which is called as a full mesh topology, each node is directly connected to the every other node. Okay, and in a practical type of mesh topology, nodes are only connected to the nodes they interact with the most. Okay, they are not interconnected to each and every nodes. They are only connected with the nodes they are interacting most. Okay, most network most network, they employ some combinations of topology to yield what's called as a hybrid topology. For instance, the tree topology combines the bus and mesh topology. The logical and physical topology of a particular network that can maybe resemble one another, or they may be entirely different from one another. For example, a twisted pair ethernet network that exists as a star topology physically but follows the burst topology logically. Okay, this was example of mesh topology. Okay, getting everything regarding the project network and project network, different types of project network, different topologies related to project network, advantages, disadvantages of the project network, and what is actually the purpose of creating the project network. That everything we have discussed till now in this particular lecture regarding the project network. Okay, the next point we can discuss is time estimation. Let us see what is time estimation. Time estimation is the art of accurately guessing how long a piece of work that will take to be completed. Okay, using time estimation techniques can allow you to reduce the guesswork involved in your estimation and let you have more confidence surrounding your time management and the time frame that your work can be completed in. This is what is time estimation. Time estimation is nothing but the guessing or finding, by doing mathematical calculation, finding the exactly time needed for the completion of total work here. That is a time estimation. Okay, we can call it as we are guessing the exactly time for the particular purpose. That also we can call it as a estimation, estimating the time. Okay, the time estimation here, it is an important part of a successful project management. Okay, by picking the right method, you can make sure that your estimated are accurate and therefore of greater values to you and your team. Time estimation is the art of accurately guessing how long a piece of work that will take you to for the purpose of completing. Now, let us discuss why it is important to estimate the time in any project for the purpose of being a project successful or making a project successful or feasible. Accurate time estimation is hugely important for the purpose of managing your project. Knowing that how long you can expect a given aspect of your work to take, that will allow you to plan and organize yourself much more effectively for the duration of your project. Okay, which as well as we know, whatever the time that was estimated, we have a large impact on the project success. Okay, while we can call it as your estimated time that won't be totally spot on, using the right method that will improve your accuracy and knowledge or the experience of the type of work you will be doing, that will also help in improving the accuracy. With that in mind, it's very good idea to always be gathering the relevant data to help you get a solid idea about the general time periods, a particular task that will take a project time tracking, that is more useful than just recording your billing purposes also. Okay, the data you gather that will help you regardless of which time estimation method you use. Okay, over a number of projects you will find your estimates becoming more and more accurate. This is how the time estimation is very important, because estimating the time actually gives you the idea about the time span that is required for the purpose of completion of the work, and whatever the time span you have been given by the stakeholders, can you manage the whole project in that particular time, that you can get the idea about that, you can get relation between that two times, so that you can, if the time both the time spans are not same, they are near to each other, then you can make, you can change the time span of different steps, and you can arrange to complete the project within the given time that you have estimated. Here we can say that an inefficient time estimation that doesn't necessarily result in complete project failure at once. Okay, as for a schedule delays, there are different things other than variables that you can consider. Okay, you can have, it is always a challenging to determine the deadlines and stick to them in a massive and complex projects also. Sometimes delays may happen due to the third parties actions or environmental factors also that are out of your direct control. In other situations, they may be an outcome of unforeseen changes in project scope and other poor initial project plan also. So we can say that there are different things why anyone should dedicate a lot of attention and efforts to arrive a precise time estimation as possible. Okay, first is cost overruns. The triple constraint model that prompts that a project scope, deadline and a budget, they are closely interrelated, and the changes in one of these parameters inevitably, because it causes changes in others also. While the amount of project, that task conditions, the duration of the project, time estimation, and schedules that may define its overall price to a large extent, especially when a portion of project that cost is calculated depending on the worker's hourly rate. In this way, inadequate time estimation that can interfere with your capability to create sound budgets and get credible cost forecast also. As a consequences, you may experience cost overruns, and the bigger they grow, the harder it is to cope with them. That is to say that cost overruns often result in financial losses and inability to complete the project on time because of the different resources. Means in short, we can say about time estimation, that time estimation plays a particularly important role in a process of project planning. It protects against delays that may lead to cost overruns and negative stakeholders also. The perception, threatening and very ability to complete a project in the long run. So to avoid that, dedicate enough resources to administer time estimation the right way and obtain all the data that is needed to make forecast as accurate as possible. We can see it as a work breakdown structure and information on project scope, analysis of external risks that may interfere with the timely delivery of desired outputs, analysis of internal risk including potentially inaccurate budget estimates and their possible effects on the project schedule. So, the key to correct time estimation are the use of hard evidences, avoiding of overly optimistic, and consideration of uncertainty. Paying enough attention to all of the three of them, you can have a higher chance of preventing delays and attaining the desirable project goals. This is how time estimation is an important thing regarding the project management or regarding the maintaining your successful project or getting a exactly 100% output of a project.